Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. If you don't know me, I've been rank 1 in Wild Rift all solo queue and a 5-role sovereign in 5 different accounts in 1 season all solo queue. Today we're going to be talking about jungle tracking. You can see these are the main points for jungle tracking, and then also some of the timers that you're going to need to understand, which we will explain briefly. Additionally, link in the description to a Google Doc which gives information on all of the key concepts you need to understand in Wild Rift and videos I've created associated with those concepts. And then lastly, information on my coaching is also linked in the description if you're interested in getting coached by me. Anyways, let's get right into the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Before we get into the actual video, it's really important to understand these timers. So initially, I want you to look at the bottom 2 points here. Small camps take 1 minute and 50 seconds to respawn, and buffs take 2 minutes and 30 seconds to respawn. This is important to understand because it makes you know when a camp is going to respawn, so that helps you infer when the enemy is going to come back to that, or when you as a jungler should go back to your side of the map. And then based on these timers, you can roughly infer when you're going to be ganked. So if the enemies start on the same side of your lane, so let's say you're on the enemy's red side and they start on their red side, this means that the enemy could gank you from 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3:45, and then again from 5 minutes to 6 minutes. Whereas if they start on the opposite side of you, you're likely to be ganked around 1 minute and 50 seconds to 2:30, and then again from 3:45 to 5 minutes. Now, I want to make it very clear that these are rough timers. Sometimes the enemy will be inefficient. They'll maybe be a really fast clearing champion. They'll maybe purposefully take advantage of the fact that you'll think they won't be able to gank you. But based on these rough estimates, you can understand basically when you're going to be ganked. And so then you can use this. So for example, if you see the enemy on their red side at 1 minute and 40 seconds, you know they must have started blue side because they would have had gone from red, or they would have had gone from blue to red side, and their red side is not going to or their blue side rather is not going to respawn again until closer to 2:30, which you can infer from again these initial small camp respawn timers, because the first time they kill a small camp, it takes an additional minute and 50 seconds to respawn. They don't kill it until around 30 or 40 seconds, so they won't go back until 2:30. So again, basically what you need to understand are these rough timers right here for whether or not you can be ganked, and kind of play around that. So I just wanted to quickly go over that before we go into the examples. This first clip is going to show you exactly what I mean. So here at 1 minute and 46 seconds, both junglers are spotted on the top side of the map. This means that both junglers started on the bottom side of the map, because once again, if you start on the bottom side, then you're going to be likely to be on the top side looking for a gank in a scuttle anywhere from about 1 minute and 50 seconds to 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And here again, a little earlier, it's 1:46. Again, we mentioned they're rough timers. And sometimes the enemy junglers also make different choices. But generally speaking, again, the fact that we see both of these people on top side at this time means it's very, very likely that they're going to be ganking us around 2:30 to 3:45. Because again, we spoke about how this side of the map, it's likely that the enemy will be back here around 2:30 to 3:45 because they started on this side of the map. And that's what we spoke about in the timers. And so because of that, you want to change the way you play lane phase. So here, you have two options as a laner when you know that both junglers can be coming very, very soon. We can see we're approaching the 2:30 timer where junglers can look to gank. Now, you can either decide to play really aggressive to try to force a 3v3 fight and force a gank and force, make it volatile so your jungler wants to gank. You're going to want to do this if your jungler is a good ganker, you have the health lead, you have mobility and flash and things like that to escape. Or you can play really safe. You're going to play really safe if your jungler is a worse ganker, or you're lower health, or you have low mobility, or you really need to recall because you have, low mana, that type of thing. And so if we look at the situation here, Nunu is a way stronger ganker than their Diana jungle, and we have a health lead, and I have my flash. So because of that, we want to play aggressive, whereas the Senna is very low health, Lucian's very low health, and you're going to see despite that, they're actually going to go forward pretty soon and try to be more aggressive. And so again, the fact that we're trying to bait here because we know that our jungler is the stronger ganker and our jungler is right here means that we're in a really good spot to just bait for free. Whereas the enemy, they think they can do something here, but the reality is they can't really make many plays because again, our jungler is a better ganker. They were quite low health. We have the mobility tools to escape. And because of all that, we're able to make a nice play around jungle. And you can see the timer is 3 minutes and 2 seconds. And what did we say? We said 2:30 to 3:45, you could be ganked if the enemy jungler started on your side of the map. And again, the enemy knew where the enemy jungler started because we saw them, we saw each other on the scuttle at about 1:46. Now here's me making the same mistake. I'm in a situation where I'm not very high health and I've lost my flash in lane and the enemy have good engage. And right around, again, the 2:35 timer, I go forward despite being in a position where I could easily be ganked. Here we hadn't yet seen Evelynn, so we didn't know where Evelynn can be. And if we don't know where Evelynn has been or can be yet, that means that we always have to be aware of any of these timers from 1 minute and 50 seconds onwards that we could be ganked on until we, of course, see the enemies. So I go aggressive and try to make a play despite not having flash. And again, I walk up too far to the engaged support despite not knowing the enemy jungle location, and that leads to me dying. In this clip right here, I'm playing jungle, and we find out that Warwick is matching my clear right now because he just shows himself on the map on the same side of me. So this is not the important part. Obviously, we just reacted to seeing someone on our screen. What's important is what we do afterwards. So not currently this gank, just we're going to show you again going later into the game, basically what we do in response. So the first thing is we go straight on Scuttle, because I know the enemy jungler can be contesting me on Scuttle. I know he started top side, which means bot side Scuttle is still going to be up since he was just respawning, and so I want to contest it as soon as possible because I know their jungler is going to be looking for this. Then after that, because I know that I started my buff, whereas he started on his Gromp, which we can see by the disparity in the camp timers where my buff is spawning 14 seconds before his blue buff, I know that I can take advantage of this by getting back to look for a gank, either going topside or looking mid before him, because he's going to want to be doing his blue buff. So I use this brief timer to find a play onto Veigar and blow Veigar flash. And then because we know that he was a little later than us, and we know he matched us, I know that his red side camps are going to be up because my blue side camps are up and we started on the same side. So when I see him forcing a gank topside early, I know that very likely he has not yet gotten all of his red side camps, which allows us to get a little steal on one of his camps and then get out for free. And then finally, again, what did we say are the timers where if you start on the same side of the enemy laner, or like in this case for, you know, this top lane, if we started on bot side here, when could we gank bot side? We could gank at 150 to 230, and then we could gank again from 345 to 5 minutes. And if we look at the timer, we're at 430, which is right within that 345 to 5 minute range. And because the enemy jungler started on the same side as us, we know he's going to be looking for a gank. And so because of that, I'm sitting here just simply waiting for a counter gank. And obviously we saw him on vision as well, but we would have known regardless that he's going to be here. And I know that he's probably not recalled yet. We saw him walk towards that bush, and we know he's probably not recalled because his camps aren't up yet because it's not yet been, you know, hitting the 5 minute timer of the game. So we know he's probably still here looking for the gank, and because of that, we're able to find the counter gank. So basically what you saw here was using those various timers that I spoke to you guys about to find multiple angles where we can invade the enemy jungle because we see him on the map elsewhere, you know, away from where his camps we know are up because of the timers. And then we know when he's going to look for ganks so that we can find counter ganks because we spotted him earlier. So then we knew he's going to be matching us. And because we know he's matching us, we know before our camps respawn on the opposite side, you know, his camps also won't be respawned. So we can look for these types of ganks. In this situation, we spot the enemy Shyvana on the opposite side of us. So we know she's on the opposite side of us. Because of that, we know that, again, she's not going to gank her blue side until around 230 at the earliest. So because of that, as a jungler, I realize I have a window of opportunity to make a dive or a gank without any counter gank from the enemy. Because of that, you see that we look for a dive right around 150, and we know that we're going to be safe for this brief period of time because the enemy Shyvana can't really be here because, again, of the jungle timers we spoke about. So that's why I skip Scuttle and I decide to force this earlier, because I know if I try to wait until I get Scuttle and I get level 5, that the enemy Shyvana will have a much more, you know, a much higher likelihood of actually being able to eventually respond to that gank. So instead we decide to force the dive early while we still know Shyvana can't respond. And in the final clip here, we know that the enemy jungler once again started on the same side as us. I started blue side, he started blue side. So I know his blue side, he started red side, I started blue side. So we started on the same side. Because of that, I know his red side camps are going to be respawning right about now. And I see him resetting. Because again, we see the 230 timer. That's right when your camps are going to respawn on the side you started on, as we said. And so because of that, I know that I can immediately walk here and look to go to his top side. If you're wondering why my blue side's not responding right now, it's because I actually invaded his red initially. Just because I was, you know, my viewer dared me to and said he'd give me money if I did. So I did that, but we started on the same side of the map because I went to blue side right after. My blue side's just respawning a little later because I did that weird invade that I wouldn't recommend you do. Just want to point out why that's happening. But because of that, we know his jungle camps are going to be respawning again at this 230 timer. We saw him reset. And usually when you reset, a lot of people go Krugs right out of base. So we know he's probably going to go Krugs right out of base, and we're going to have this timer to steal his Raptors. So because of that very, very simple inference that we make, we're able to get an additional camp out of the whole situation basically for free. And that's again just how like I'm level 6. I'm never gonna actually die here. In this case, I think my Rise just like walks forward and dies for no reason, and so we try to go save him. But you can see again that brief timer, because we understand that 2:30 is when they respawn. We saw him respawning at 2:30 or recalling at 2:30, so we know he's probably going to go to Krugs at a base. And because we know that his Raptors are also respawning, we can get that brief invade on Raptors. So basically, again, just using these jungle timers to make invades, or to be more aggressive as a laner, or to be more passive as a laner, depending on the situation. So that's going to do it for the video. As you guys can see, jungle tracking is actually a relatively simple concept if you just understand these timers. What's important is putting active thought into where the enemy jungle is based on where you saw them, and using these timers as a way to kind of infer where they have been and where they're going and when their camps are going to respawn, and then making decisions based on that. Some of those decisions, as you saw here, were being more aggressive to bait the enemy into engaging on you because your jungler's there and their jungler isn't, or their jungler's weaker. Using the fact that you know that the enemy jungler might be ganking you within this timer to be more passive. Using the fact that enemy jungle camps are spawning to get an invade off when they're not there because they've showed elsewhere, and just overall using it to understand where the enemy jungle is to make any decision, whether it's be more aggressive, more passive, make a play, don't make a play. All of these types of things are basically what you need to understand as it relates to jungle tracking. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like or subscribe, or do whatever it is you want to do, I guess, and I'll see you in the next video.